With no air conditioning, no windows on half.
They were. I mean, it was rough.
Watch some of her previous episodes. I was talking about going to Colombia, right? And Eric says I'm a prepper and all this. I'm saying, fuck prepper. I'm a preparer, right?
It's the same thing.
No, it's not. That's the only reason why he told us he was saying it in English. Mm-hmm. He goes, they don't know what we're saying. I'm gonna tell you the real truth. He goes,
Bienvenido al show de Josh y Eric. Soy Eric.
Soy Josh.
I'm in my Pablo Escobar right now. I'm rocking it, loving it. You're doing the same.
Pablo Escobar had a more thick hairline.
He did?
Well, he looked like he did.
I mean,
that's why I got my hat on. I look like a creeper Pablo.
Well, I've never had a stash ever. This is like really my first time. I mean, maybe in the mirror once or twice. I just shaved it off, looked at it for a second, and then shaved it all the way off type situation.
We actually did a Pablo tour.
We did.
Yeah.
But let's back up.
Okay.
Josh and I went on an epic trip. We had so much fun, right? I mean, shit. We did so much stuff, but we wanted to kind of give the audience a rundown of what our experience was and how it all went. So if you guys have been to Colombia, anybody watching this, make sure that you comment on here. Tell us about it. Tell us what you think, because we're about to tell you what we think about it.
Colombia.
That's right. So anyways, it starts out with a real bang, right?
It starts out with our saying, as soon as you think you got something figured out, it ain't easy.
No, it's never
We're all
easy.
pumped up. We all get to the airport, right? At like 8 o'clock or in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't like a super early deal.
And the rain hits.
Yep.
And we're sitting there looking at the forecast, and it's getting worse. And we're supposed to fly from Tulsa to Dallas, Dallas to Miami, Florida, Miami, Florida to Medellin, right? And be there by like 9 o'clock at night.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Instead, we go to the Tulsa airport. We get there. Flight's delayed. Cancel flights in Dallas. Miss our flight from Dallas to Miami. So we finally get to Dallas. We're like, we're going somewhere. Let's get to Dallas. So we all load up. We get to Dallas, right? And we went into the little American Airlines lounge, fancy lounge, because everybody
What's it called? The Cardinal Club?
No, I don't even know what it's called.
Admirals
Club.
Admirals Club. That's it.
So we get to the Admirals Club. We have like a 3-hour, 4-hour layover because our flight, we already missed the second flight.
Yeah, right? It was just screwed from
lines
jump.
Everywhere. Everybody's pissed off. The poor people at the desk at American Airlines, everybody's just yelling at them, screaming at them. Everybody's sleeping in like a typical storm hitting a big city.
Yeah, delays everywhere. It wasn't just us.
We get there. We go through every option possible. She's like, I can get you one of you guys there tonight.
Miami.
To Miami. I can get you one of you to Medellin tonight. And then I can get one over there on Friday. Well, this is like, or Saturday. I was like, we're going to miss half our trip.
Oh, and it was a terrible start.
So I was like, so then we were like, F it. Let's go to Costa Rica. We already packed. Let's go to Panama. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah,
we were
going
like somewhere today.
That's right. That's right.
I already had it in my mind. I was like,
it was a real option. Like,
I was like, where are we going?
Where's Thomas at? Because we were all together, like talking, and we're like, yep, we're willing to go anywhere. He's like, yep, you willing to go anywhere? Yep. So then we were like,
we
where
go through the
Thomas?
list. We'll figure out the rest later. So we're like, where are we going? She's like, how about Bogota? We're like,
no, I came up with it. I was sitting there like, I was like, Bogota. I was like, does American go to Bogota? She's like, actually, it goes direct from Dallas to Bogota. And I was
we
like,
can get you on a plane in an hour.
Yeah, I was like, I looked over at Josh, and we were like, we're going to Bogota. So we took off to Bogota, and it was kind of a longer flight. That one wasn't it like 5.5 or something like that?
4.5, 5 hours, yes.
Yes, it was a longer flight.
But we were in first class. I mean, it helped out a lot.
Yeah, it was not, other than Thomas.
Thomas was sitting in between two fat dudes in the back.
Yeah, and for $500, we were sitting there looking at it. We were like, are you that cheap? For $500, you could have been sitting up here.
He came up there with his face as white as it goes, all freaking sweating.
Not smart. He regretted it, I'm sure, the second he got on that plane.
Yeah.
But so anyways, we make it to Bogota. We're like, we're pumped up.
We get there at like 1 o'clock in the morning. We have no reservation anywhere. We had no plans of going to Bogota. We have no flight getting out of Bogota.
That's true, but we were excited.
We were in Colombia.
We were excited.
Yeah, come to find out, Bogota is pretty dangerous, and I would agree with him.
Yeah. So we were in Bogota, and it was really late at night, so we didn't do that much. But we got up in the morning, and we went to this really badass coffee shop. Remember that? But
let's get this perspective. Bogota is huge.
Oh, it's absolutely enormous.
It's like 10 8 to 10 million people, give or take, if the population's right.
Yeah, I took a pretty cool pano too, and Alex, I'll send it to you. It's just a still, pretty good pano. So flash it up there, show what it looks like. We got up on top of Bogota basically, and what is it, Wasp?
Yeah.
We got up on top of Bogota, and basically I just had a badass view, and it was amazing. It really was.
Everybody
Right.
lives in apartments.
Yeah, it's a lot of apartments, and from what you can tell, I mean, it's pretty low income, but it's a beautiful place, and I didn't like it though as much as I liked Medellin.
It's just different. You go to it's like America, right? You go to Louisiana, those people, are completely different from people in California. Well, California, their people are different from everybody.
Yeah,
You can point those guys out, like, that guy's California right there.
yeah, for sure. That's
Are
what
you
we
from
look
California,
like.
Alex? Okay.
That's what we look like walking down the road. When we got to Medellin and we got into our Airbnb.
Well, let's go back to Bogota. So we fly into Bogota. We stay at this really, really nice hotel. And we're thinking, I don't know what you guys think about when you travel third world countries. You think everything's going to be cheap based off things you read. It ain't cheap, people.
It wasn't that cheap. I would agree.
Find out wherever we go, it's not cheap. Now, granted, we didn't want to stay in a bad area coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning, so we kind of had to take what we got. And they like, oh, English, we're probably going to charge you more. But so we stay in this hotel, and it's about $300-something a person.
It is.
Right?
You know what I think is interesting is that I bet when they see us, gringos, as they call us, that we're like, hey, where can we go eat that's nice? That's a common question, right? Well, they're going to go, oop, send him to the ritzy one over there on the top.
We really just we're normal people, and we just want normal food.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went was expensive.
It was. The food was pretty expensive, but we did have some badass views. I mean, they have a lot of rooftop, like restaurants and bars and clubs and stuff like that.
Bogota's hopping.
It's
they
busy.
It's first of all sitting in the most steep, lush rainforest jungle ever. Nothing I thought it would be. I mean, it's steep mountains, and you're at 9,000-10,000 foot elevation.
Oh yeah, you're
way up there. So, I mean, you're in the Colorado Rockies in the jungle. I mean, put it in perspective. So we get there. I'm thinking, it's always neat to go from my perspective because I do travel a lot. It's always neat when I go to somewhere and it's completely different from what I expected.
Yeah. Did you feel that way?
Well, I was thinking Bogota is probably the size of Tulsa, million-plus population, because I never had any intention to go into Bogota, so I never looked anything about it.
Fair enough.
When I flew in, I was like, holy crap, this place is 10 million people.
Yeah.
And
it's the capital, so I knew.
In a landmass the size of Tulsa because everybody lives in apartments. And then you go in third world country, you thinking mud huts and, stuff like that. These people had 30 and 40 and 50-story buildings and 20-story buildings as far as the eye could see.
Skyscrapers.
We drove up on top of this cliff that he said he's mentioned he's going to send you a picture of. And the guy, this taxi cab driver we got, he's kind of showing us around, and Jimmo was trying to translate. That was a funny story in itself. But
yeah.
Jimmo, my brother, thinks he can speak fluent Spanish. And the guy's
it's hilarious. It's nowhere near, right?
So
terrible.
we're driving around. He's speaking Spanish. He's one of those guys that's gonna roll with it, no matter if he knows what he's talking about or not. So we don't know where we're going. So we end up on top of this mountain, and the guy's giving us this tour. And there's a lot of culture. Some of these buildings are built in 1800s and old Spanish culture. Yeah. But what was crazy is you feel somewhat safe, right? Even though that everybody's looking at you because we're the only white guys in the country, I think, or at least yeah. But the guy was like, you see those blue roofs over there? And you're talking about 10, 12 million people, 8, 10 million people population. And you're talking about a pretty significant size on the side of this mountain of homes and apartments.
Yeah, that's on a mountain. Blue. And it's
he's like, that's gangland. That's the cartel. You don't go over there.
Yeah, we learned a lot about that while we were over there.
So when we kind of went over there, we were thinking the government had control and all this, that, and other. In all reality, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either. I think everybody's paid, but at the end of the day,
I mean, I didn't feel safe.
But I did not. The biggest thing for me is when I went over there, I had a little bit of I just felt a little uneasy, right? I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but when I got over there, Bogota was, I would say, a little bit more sketchy, in my opinion.
I agree.
Than Medellin. Medellin, I felt comfortable. The place was beautiful. The people were beautiful. And it was just a badass vibe there.
When we fly into Bogota, we get in the airport, massive. By the way, another thing. So we get there, we get this hotel, nice hotel. We have to order plane tickets.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the airline?
Oh fuck, Moon Flights.
Moon Flights.
Moon Flights.
Sketchy
Shout out to
shit.
Moon Flights. Yeah, real sketch.
So we get on this plane. We're on there. Everybody's looking at us on this plane like, what the hell are these people doing on this plane? Like 4 white dudes on an airplane.
Yeah.
And we're like bigger and those guys are like double. Because Colombians aren't real big people.
I'm sure there are some, but these guys were not.
So we were on this place. Everybody's looking at us. We didn't really care, where we sat. We sat the front plane because I think the tickets were like $60. That just shows you how much American Airlines is charging us for plane tickets.
Well, we didn't go very far either.
It's an hour-and-a-half flight.
I hope it was 50 minutes.
So we get on this plane, we land there. So Medellin, if you fly into Medellin, it's what? The airport's about 20 minutes outside of town on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
So you get there, you drive through the longest tunnel from the airport I've ever been.
Cool. I forgot about that.
It's like a 5-minute tunnel ride. And then you pop out of this tunnel, it's like, boom.
Yeah.
The city's right there in this freaking deep canyon.
Oh, it's badass.
And you're like, what the? There's just... They kind of look small when you pull up on them, but they're huge.
Yeah.
Those apartment complexes.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah, everything's really
clean.
Crazy clean.
We drove around like, Eric, there's no trash cans. There's no air conditioning on the door. There's not any trash on the road. There's no homeless people. When we were in Medellin, the whole entire time, I was like, this place is clean.
Yeah, no, and then no trash cans, no visible trash cans anywhere. So it was really crazy. And
Landscape's done. Everything's green.
Yeah, it was lush and badass. So we get to our Airbnb in Medellin, and we did go through Airbnb, and I spent quite a while looking at reviews, trying to find the right individual. And then we ran into a guy, or I read about a guy named Jay. He's a host there on Airbnb, and shout out Soy King Jay, and he took care of us, man. Like his team was great. So if you're going to Medellin, book with Jay. You probably won't.
Well, he's kind of like that mentality. He's in the Airbnb business, and he's all in.
Yeah,
meaning he has connections with.
He owns a restaurant, all kinds of stuff.
I mean, every little facet of things that you would want to do: ATV riding, fishing, flights, restaurants, his own and others.
Yeah.
Pablo Escobar tours. What was that?
Comuna 13, yeah. So that was another deal. We did a tour there. So we did a lot of eating out, obviously, right? We had a chef come in and cook breakfast. It was okay.
I didn't think it was that great.
Yeah, it was okay, but it was breakfast. It
McDonald's.
was nice to wake up in the morning and then breakfast is ready, right? So that's nice. But Comuna 13, we took that tour and we walked all around and took a lot of cool videos. And we saw this kid came up and did the magic trick. You remember that?
Yep.
That was pretty cool. I got that on video. I'm sure Alex will throw it up for you guys to take a look at.
But the District 13 is...
I think it's Comuna 13, but
I
could be wrong.
No, you're right. But it is a district area, what they were telling us. It's a community named 13 because it was like the most gang-ridden... bad place you could think of. Not too long ago, like in the early 90s.
That's correct, yeah.
I mean, it was bad. And these are huts. You're talking about a hut on the side of... This is one part of the town that was very, 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 very poor.
For sure.
These guys didn't have stairs. They made them out of whatever material they had. And then you walk down this like dill on the side of a mountain. It's like this path that's paved. And you got all these like vendors are selling necklaces, hats, bracelets, food. I got a bracelet right here for my daughter, and I got one for myself. They're selling all these different trinkets that they're making. Whatever they got to do to make money.
Yeah.
We bought some sugar cane and made a drink out of it.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah, out of this old... But it's like miles on the side of the cliff, and above you and below you is nothing but these like mud huts. With no air conditioning, no windows on half.
They were, I mean, it was rough. It was rough.
They didn't have any air conditioning.
I can't imagine when it rained.
Oh.
I can't imagine what it's like there, living in those houses when it rains.
I didn't see one bed in those houses. The ones that were very close. I didn't see any beds. I saw like a couch. I didn't see any TVs. Very few TVs down there. It's just crazy. So that was a neat district area we went to, and then that was part of that. While we were over there, I was like, we're going on the Pablo tour, and we weren't going on the Pablo tour. They had street performers, people drumming, people dancing.
We watched the breakdancing deal.
Yeah.
I got a video of that. He might throw it up there.
So these, I mean, really, 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 really vibrant culture.
Great, yeah.
Like, people are all in on that country. I think they're like, what I got the vibe of, I don't know, I never told you this, but I think that they were like, we're free.
I felt this. I felt that.
We're actually able to go eat out and not get our head chopped off. They didn't like Pablo.
No, they hated him. I mean, it was a bad deal from what they're telling us, and we obviously understand some of it, right? I'm sure it's in
We're
history
intrigued
books.
over
But
here. He's like, you Americans love Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, I know.
But everybody over there is like, we hate Pablo. One guy was like, we compare Pablo to the Jewish genocide.
Yeah, that's right.
In the taxi cab,
Can't believe you remember that.
He goes, it's like people going to Germany to see where they put all the Jewish people and burn them up,
Yeah.
He goes, that's what we think about Pablo. He's Hitler.
Yeah.
We're like, what
crazy.
the?
So we did other stuff too. We did ATV tour. I wasn't super impressed.
That was kind of a scam. Well,
Yeah.
we're kind of rednecks, so we like going and
We
jumping.
liked it because we got the waterfall deal too.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat. But I mean, we've been on some pretty cool ones in Costa Rica. That one does not compare. It wasn't worth the $125 or whatever it was.
No.
So we
But
told,
it's
we,
kinda
we told them
cool.
about that too. We're like, yeah, it's not worth that.
Yeah, well, I don't think they have a lot of. He said they have a lot of Americans, but there's not a lot of Americans over there in general. So if you're American and you're white like us, and you're thinking about going over there and you speak very little Spanish, you better have Google Translate, and you better do what Eric did and do your research and hire a good host, or do what we did. We hired a good host that kind of gave us a rundown when we showed up. So when we showed up to this Airbnb, we walked around, we're all excited. We finally made it to Medellin. And the guy, it wasn't Jay, another guy came in and was like, hey, look, I know you guys are excited.
Esteban was his name.
Esteban. He goes, I know you guys are excited. I know you guys Colombia is wild. It's a lot bigger than what you think. But look, it's still
Here's
crazy
what you
around
do.
here.
Here's
Do
what
not
not
do
to
these
do.
things. You will get robbed. You will get jacked. You will get held up. Do not walk outside this gate. We had a freaking full-time bodyguard that lived in our house, that had his own room in our house, that lived with us
Yep.
full time.
But it didn't change my feelings personally about
Our house had no windows.
Oh, I know. We talked about it. And another thing I would say that if you're going over to probably any foreign country, and if you can afford it, ours was pretty cheap. I think it was $150 a day, but we got a translator with us all day, every day.
And he was about our age, and he knew
Yeah.
our culture, what we wanted to
And he
do.
was cool as shit, I mean, what was his name? Was it Danny?
Danny.
Danny, yeah, shout out to Danny. He was cool shit. And we had a good time, and he was laid back, chill. He could get you whatever you wanted, tell you about the things that work, what things don't work, the different spas, which
Not get
whatever.
overcharged by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean,
exactly.
because everybody over there, you have to negotiate your price up front, and then you pay.
That's right. That's right.
Because every time we didn't, they were like, a taxi cab ride that should have been like $3 or $4 ended up being $30. And what are you going to do? What are you going to tell those guys? No, I'm not going to pay you. Yeah. They probably work for the cartel.
And you have a guy like Danny with you, right? And he's like, no, I know you're overcharging these guys in Spanish, obviously, right? And we don't get made. We just don't get one worked over on us, right? So, if you can afford that, that is definitely worth the money. Wherever you're going, having a translator with
In
you.
fact, I saw two other American white guys, one from Austin, Texas, and they both had translators with them too. Remember?
And the one guy looked like Pablo Escobar. Remember
Yes,
that? That was in
did.
Comuna 13 when we were there.
Yeah. Pablo was kind of goofy looking.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of money.
He had a fuck ton. I heard him. The government
He had
actually let him
20%.
build his own prison.
Oh yeah, they did.
Over there that he was confined to with a airstrip
Yes.
and all like a
He had his
indoor
own-
pool.
Yes.
He was throwing parties in there, and the
Yes.
government, because of his power,
Exotic animals.
yeah, like all kinds of stuff. This is what we're told, right? We don't know if it's true.
Well,
or
no,
not.
I took the Pablo Escobar tour, right? And I went over there, and they had a picture of the prison, and I have a picture of me in the jail cell.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, the Pablo
don't remember that.
Escobar jail cell.
Yeah.
And we got to see his cars and his Mercedes Benz where they had bullet holes in them, and his first airplane when he. Another thing too about Pablo I didn't know, fun fact, is he didn't actually grow his own coke leaves.
He didn't.
No, he was buying them from Peru.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was buying it from Peru, and then he was processing it in Colombia, and he was smuggling it into America.
Huh.
And then when he died, this is based off the tour. When he died, that's when all the Mexican cartels started. That's when they started really ramping up because he had the market.
By himself, probably.
Yeah, and then when he put himself in prison, the
Probably
other
still doing activities out of prison, from what I can understand.
yeah, it's. But walking around, everybody knows about Pablo because it's happened in the 80s and 90s, right? There's still heavy penetration with cartel. Drugs is still
For
part of the culture
sure.
in a very heavy way. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are over that point. You know, they don't. When you walk over there, you think there's going to be cocaine on every corner and everybody's going to be pushing coke. That's not how it is at all.
Not at all.
The women dress very, very nice. The man dress very, very nice. They upkeep themselves.
And they don't wear shorts.
They don't wear shorts. It's like hotter than hell over there. Humidity, your fucking fat people like me are sweating their balls off.
Yeah.
And
for some reason, they don't.
No, that's how they point out gringos.
Yeah, that's probably accurate because I even had this conversation with you before we left. And I was like, I'm reading that they don't wear shorts.
Yeah, you did.
know? And then somehow I packed shorts and he's packed shorts. I had some long pants too, but we're walking around and I'm like, damn, we are easily identifiable. We'll just say.
Yes.
So,
I didn't wear shorts every day. Sometimes I had the part of our Airbnb, they cleaned our clothes every day. So I didn't even need to pack near as much
stuff as you did.
So let's rewind this real quick.
You're talking about
we're going to freaking
no, let me tell this story.
Hold on. It gets better. So we go, as you see, if you don't know, watch some of our previous episodes. I was talking about going to Colombia, right? And Eric says I'm a prepper and all this. I'm say, fuck prepper. I'm a preparer, right?
It's the same thing.
No, it's not. I'm preparing for the worst.
It's the same thing.
So I have pillows and blankets and raincoats and
fire starters
and first aid kits. I have all this stuff, right? Our first
I can't even get through the Tulsa TSA checkpoint. I get pulled out. I'm like, what in the fuck? And he's like, what is this bar in here? And I'm like, honestly, sir, I don't really know because Josh gave me all this shit, right? I looked at it, but I don't know what else it's made out of. So I throw all this shit in a bag and I go through TSA and they flag me, right? And they're questioning me the back and forth. And he's like, I'm looking for this bar over and over and over. And he's like, do you have a bar? And actually he's like, it looks like a knife. Do you have a knife? And I was like, no. And he's like looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, Jesus, Josh, I'm just thinking in my head, I'll kill you. Right. And he finds a cutlery set was one thing he found.
No, he finds a fire starter.
The fire starter was first, right? That's true. The fire starter was first.
So Eric's like taking forever. I'm like, where the fuck is Eric? Where is he? And then he walks up, puts his bow. He's like, I took my fire starter. I was like, they took your fire starter?
And I was thinking about it. I was like, well, fuck yeah, they took my fire starter. I'm on the plane with my carry-on bag.
I got by with my fire starter.
Like, Jesus, I don't know what I was thinking, right? But this idiot, and then it gets better, right? And then I get stopped again in another TSA.
At Bogota.
At Bogota, because I have a fucking knife cutlery set that I didn't even wear I had, right? He packs a knife, a fork, and a spoon from looks like Pinterest or some shit he bought it from.
He said it was TSA approved.
Jesus. And they stopped me for that. And I'm like, when's it going to end? And then we get stopped again.
Then we're going from Medellin to Bahia Salada, and I get stopped. The lady's like, do you have scissors? I'm like, no, I don't have scissors. They're like, you have scissors. I'm like, I don't have scissors. Well, end up in my TSA approved first aid kit. They wouldn't allow scissors that had the scissors in the first aid kit through, and they were tiny. They're like this big. They're like, can't have that. I'm like, okay. They're like, you can check in your bag. I was like, hell no, I'm not checking in my bag. I'm getting ready to go in the middle of nowhere, and I gotta have this bag.
Yeah, that's right.
I had my fire starter.
Yeah.
we're going in the middle of nowhere, so I was like, take the damn scissors. Eric has his scissors. I got his spoon. I got a fire starter. He has his scissors. He got by with his first aid kit.
What's interesting is that the first one, you got to think, from Tulsa, I got by with the knife, and what was that one? And the scissors, right?
Yep.
And then they find the knife, but they don't find the scissors, and
we got one thing taken at each stop. One of us.
You see what I'm saying? Like every stop missed something, right? Through that. So that's interesting to think about.
Hey, and when we're about done with this, we're gonna recap some things. If you think and you plan on going to Colombia, we're gonna recap some things that I would definitely go, knowing what I know now, being a veteran, going over there, being a veteran now, seeing a large part of the country, and eating out and doing all the things that we did, and we'll go through some more of that during the show. But we're gonna make a list with you things that I would pack if I went back again, and we are gonna go back again, so we'll get to that too. So
then we go fishing.
No, let's go back to Medellin.
All right, what we got?
So we stay in Medellin because everything got delayed, right? And we don't have the Airbnb for that extra night. And the guy's like, "Yeah, we'll rent it out for you one more night." But we didn't know where we were gonna go if we didn't get that. The guy was luckily there was 1 day grace period for the next guest show up, and he's like, "You can stay here one more night." So we hand him cash.
Yeah.
But getting to the very beginning of this, you go to, I don't know who's watching this and where you guys are from, but hopefully if you are from America and you travel outside America or you use the USD, the US dollar, most places I have traveled in Europe and Mexico and Canada and Africa, Caribbean, a lot of Central America, a lot of different places, most places take the US dollar. They're happy to take them.
Not there.
In Colombia, people don't want the US dollar. They're not used to it. So they don't know what to do with it. So, yeah, you might have a stack of hundreds and 50s and 20s. First of all, they don't know how to convert it. It's not like you're going to Mexico or Cabo where like, yeah, I know the conversion rate because they're doing it all day, right? They're trading USD for the peso. Down there, they don't know. So they're not
It's
even...
a restaurant. They're not doing any conversions.
No, they're not. They don't have anything to do conversions. They don't know how to speak English, and they're not going to do it. And that's basically the fundamentals of it. So when you get over there, you better convert some USD into some pesos. As a matter of fact, my dumbass, I got like $300 USD in pesos, which is like...
Did you bring it back with you?
On accident.
Give it to your kid. That's what I did last time.
$300 in pesos?
Yeah.
I'm going to save it till next year. It's not going bad. It might go up.
I always bring some pesos and different things home for the kids, you know.
So you better have pesos over there. And we figured that out real quick. Or credit card. But I don't know if I'd carry a lot of cash on you. They tell you not to carry your ID and your passport because you could get mugged at any given time. Luckily for us, we didn't get mugged. But the guy that was hosting our Airbnb owns multiple other Airbnbs. And he goes, I don't know who's going to be in this group that doesn't listen, but somebody will not listen. And if you don't listen, these are the things that are going to happen to you. Luckily for all of us, which is, I don't know how because we are not listeners, very good listeners and rule followers, right?
I think we did a pretty good job.
But none of us got hurt. None of us got robbed. None of us got sick. And the guy that night was like, in my other Airbnb, the guy didn't listen. He got freaking jacked and he's in jail. And I had to call in a favor and get him out of jail.
Yep.
I was like, what?
He's like, happens every week.
Happens every week. Somebody doesn't follow the rules we give to them. And that's why I think we kind of had the false sense of reality of safety because we just followed the rules once in our life. So if you go over there and follow the rules or listen to the right people, they kind of gave us a rundown in a very short version, 10-minute version, do's and don'ts. And when they mean don't, that doesn't mean maybe. That doesn't mean try it and you're probably going to get by with it. That means if you do it, you're probably going to get the results that they tell you right then, and they're not very fun.
Yeah.
They don't speak English. The prisons are probably not nice, and everybody is corrupt over there at some point. As far as not the people in general, but like,
I mean, it's probably considered a third world country,
and it's dangerous.
And it's
dangerous. It's beautiful,
and there's people that are going to do whatever they have to do to survive.
There's no middle class over there. There's people that are rich, and there's people that are poor. That's how I got it. The people that are poor are just trying to eat. And the people that are rich where we stayed, they're eating at nice restaurants. It's almost like a little mini Miami, to be honest with you. Like the restaurants are beautiful. The cuisine and the food prep is great.
We did eat in some really amazing restaurants. That steakhouse at I can't remember the name of it, but
the wine
it was
choices.
Amazing. It was just amazing. The food was great. You know, and we went to that place called Flavors that Jay owned. And we had that crazy smorgasbord of different stuff, and it was badass.
It's not Mexican food.
No, I called it like a fusion. Like that's the way I looked at it. It was like a fusion food, like a combination of a couple different things, you know. But a lot of seafood, as you can imagine, and that's exactly what I want to eat because I love seafood.
Seafood, rice. It's not like Mexican food. They do Mexican food. They have greasy chips, which I love.
Yeah,
tortillas everywhere. They didn't have a lot of tortillas there. It's mainly like plantains with everything. That's their
plantains.
Potato. You better like plantains. If you
I don't really care for them all that much, if I'm being honest.
I started loving them.
Yeah, well, you look like you need a little more food than me. You know what I'm saying? He just eat whatever's on his plate.
But overall, your diet's great over there. They eat you don't see when you go over there, and you don't see the Walmarts, the Targets, obviously, but you don't see any stores like that.
We did see a McDonald's, I think, in Bogota.
But I'm saying most of these people shop in these like little areas within their community in this big city that people are like, okay, that guy's selling fruit on the side of the road, and they go grab their fruit. And okay, that guy's selling meat, and they grab the meat. They're like little video shops, but thousands of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
You don't see any supermarkets.
I want to talk about the fishing.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about the fishing.
I like the fishing. So, Medellin is beautiful. Recap: beautiful place. I mean, I would recommend it for like a husband and wife or a single guy or even you and your buddies. Go down there and just have a good time. It's a cool vibe, very laid back. I feel rested, right, from doing that. It was fun. We had a good time. And but on to the fun part.
But be
the
prepared.
most fun. But be prepared, right? No, we're trying to teach you some of this stuff and what we learned. We had a successful trip. So
That's right.
anyway, so we take this moon flights actually.
The first one wasn't Moonflight.
Was it?
No, it was a red plane. It was something. I'll name of it here.
Well, moon flights was definitely the one that we went on. Now that I think about it, from Medellin to Bahia Solano.
Exactly.
Yep. And we have a video of that too, so you can see it. And let's talk about a little jet.
Little airplane.
I'm
My brother's
talking-
not feeling good. He ate something the night before. He gets on the airplane. He's white as a gust. I'm like, dude, you don't look good. He sits next to. I'm talking about. I can't even sit.
Oh,
this
it's
thing's so
bad.
small.
Like,
And they pack this thing, man. They don't even ask to weigh luggage. They just say, get on the
how many
airplane.
people you think? How many people?
Like,
Like 12?
12, 15 people, and everybody had multiple bags and scuba gear and all this
Oh, yeah.
stuff. And we get on this thing. Again, we're the only white people on this people. People are like, where the hell?
There were a lot of people were scuba diving where we were going.
Because we were in the place with the cove where the #1 place to see whale sharks are
Yeah.
at that time of the year.
That's what I'm saying. There were scuba divers and they were.
So my
looking at
brother
whale
gets
sharks.
on this airplane, sicker than a dog. He doesn't do well on airplanes or anything that does a lot of movement. He's up there throwing up in the airbag, misses the bag, has throw up all over him, in a deep sweat, has armpit sweat, face
Oh,
as
it's
wide as
bad.
it goes.
And imagine in this tiny little jet, right? The
No,
guy.
it's not a jet, it's a turbine prop.
It was a turboprop.
Yeah.
So
We were out
literally
first
like
2
this
seconds
close.
in there.
We're literally like this close together. That's how close you are, and that's the plane, right? So
Jimbo's
Jimbo's
throwing
over
up.
there like throwing up on it. So everybody in the plane knows what's going on.
He's like, "Ugh." I'm like, oh my gosh. Sweat everywhere. Misses the bag, the first
Oh,
throw
it
up
was
go around, and he's a big guy.
There he is, too.
There's the throw up king. We're talking about you right now, throwing up on the airplane.
Yeah.
Hey, what was the name of that first airplane ride we took from Bogota to Medellin? No, it was Venta or Vent. Yeah, Talim or something like that. Talim.
Oh, yeah.
So he's up there throwing up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I get off there. To be honest with you, I didn't know he was throwing up on the airplane. He gets off. I was like, what the hell happened to you? And he had a barf bag, and he had sweat, and he had all kinds of shit. And Thomas was sitting next to me. He was like, dude, your brother was throwing up everywhere.
I've been there.
And you know what? He wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling 100% great, but we went straight from that freaking airplane, and we'll kind of tell you going from the airplane to the boat, but we went straight to the boat and fished the rest of the day
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
our
so
luggage on the boat.
That poor guy. Like, I felt so bad for him. Like, because it's already tough enough. If you ever been deep sea fishing, and the waves were happening that day too, so it wasn't
Yeah,
like it was
rainy.
Oh, it was bad, right? And he's just sitting there all day long after he's already sick. Oh,
His
thinking,
freaking patch didn't have time to
thinking
get it.
FML, right?
So we get on these we get off the airport. This airport is probably 300 yards long. It's like one shack, no security. You get off the air, you walk on the runway, and then this guy is sitting there. You walk in like this, like man-made, like shanty, like a 20-mile-an-hour wind's gonna blow this thing over, right? Two guys in machine guns, right? When you walk out,
Yep.
right? Military-looking guys. You're like, what the hell? You're in the middle of the jungle.
And then there's these cars.
It's raining, and then you have these little. They call them.
What do they call them? I can't remember.
Not Tintos. That's coffee. They call them.
I never asked them.
Tito's,
They're like 3 wheels. They're like
Yeah.
a smaller than a golf cart,
Tito's or something like that.
and they're crazy looking. One guy in the front with a wheel in the center, right? You got 2 guys in the back with a little bit of room for luggage.
That's it.
And we got some videos of those too. I've never seen anything
You're
like
driving
them.
down these like most bumpy roads. They're not even roads. They're freaking. Our road right here is nicer than those roads by 10x.
10x.
And the whole city's built off that. So I'm thinking when we flew in there, I was like, how big is this town? Like 2,000 to 1,500 people? Because there's little shacks everywhere.
No, wasn't it like 20,000 or 30,000?
12,000.
12,000?
12,000 people.
Yeah.
And the whole city runs off a generator.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, our electric goes out. Our electric
Last
went
night.
out one of the nights, but I guess that's a typical thing. You're in the middle of the jungle, and you drive on this little car to the town from the airport, and there's like a military base there. So I'm like, okay, I feel a little safe, right? There's a military base here. I was like, why is there a military base here? And then we'll get to it in a second, but there's a whole story to that military base. So we drive around, we go to this liquor store. The guy's like, you want some liquor? And Tom's like, I want some liquor and beer. He's like, this is your choice, chance to get it. We don't come back in this town.
Yeah.
We're like, let's drive around. The guy's like, nah, we're not driving around. We're going to take you straight to the fish camp.
Yeah. For
we went
sure.
straight to the liquor store, grabbed what we wanted, and they grabbed some food and stuff, and
On the
went
boat.
straight on the boat.
And you should have seen this port. I think I got a video or a picture of the port there too. It's I've never seen anything like it. We'll just say that.
It's the life of
what it is.
It's the life of that city. That's
I
where they get all
understand.
their eggs and
That's where everything comes in and goes
yeah.
out.
So the water's blue, but it's not like Caribbean blue, right? It's kind of like Costa Rican water. So we go in this bay, get on the boat, immediately start catching fish.
And just for reference, it is west of Medellin, almost directly on the coast.
It's on the Pacific.
Correct. It's directly west of Medellin by 50 minutes. I don't know how many miles it is.
It was about
probably.
It's not probably a long miles.
200 miles,
couple,
probably 200 or 300 miles, something like that.
It's about a 50 minutes to an hour flight over mountains.
Yeah.
And this runway's tiny, and they come in hot, and this guy comes in. I was like, man, how do you get this airplane in here? Because it was like zero visibility and rainy. He's like, this plane lands here no matter what.
Yeah.
He goes, we get a couple flights in here, and they don't cancel them.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he said.
And I was like, whoa. And I was like, how often do they inspect these airplanes?
I was very laughing about.
They're like, and then they
the
start
PM
speaking Spanish.
schedule on this bad boy, right?
So we get in the town. It's kind of neat because we drive in this town. It's freaking rainy, potholes everywhere. We're not in a traditional vehicle like you would see in America or anywhere else. You're in these like little go-kart looking deals, right?
Yeah.
At
Little
that
sketch.
point in time, folks, I was like, I am so glad I packed my fire starter, my first aid kit, my Camelback water filtration system, my headlamp, my lantern, my everything, my multiple charger set, my battery backup. I'm like, my raincoat. I was like, my blanket, my pillow. I'm everything that I had in one bag. I was like, this is why I packed this crap.
That's passion right there. You hear that? That
And
is passion.
we get
passion
there.
prepper right here.
And yeah, they might have took some of his stuff, but I had everything at this point, besides my scissors and my first aid kit. And there is no hospitals in this town. And if there was, I probably wouldn't go anyway.
Yeah.
So we get on this boat. We immediately start catching fish.
It was the biggest boat in the one we got on was pretty much the biggest boat. There was one looked like, I don't know what that was, a barge ship looking thing.
There was like a barge, like for supplies and stuff that they run up and down the coast. There's a port about 5-hour boat ride.
Yeah. And we got on this decent boat.
We were on the nicest boat by far.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Like everybody's pulling in, like, who are these people?
Exactly.
Right? Because it's about a 40, 50-foot boat. It's a typical boat you'd see in Cabo or anywhere else that does offshore fishing, right? It's like a Viking type boat. But we get out there, start catching fish, and we look around, and there's these little 14-foot, 16-foot fiberglass and wooden boats everywhere. They're everywhere.
I agree.
You're like, what the hell? These people are out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean in these little boats. I wouldn't even give it on freaking my farm pond with that thing.
And they're in there hand fishing.
Hand fishing, no
for
gloves.
Tuna, no gloves. Throwing they chum the tuna up. The tuna they come up. They throw their little hand line in there with some kind of bait. Boom! They get it with their hand. And if you've ever caught any tuna, anybody watching this, it is a workout. We'll just say with a rod and reel.
Here, I look like I got beat up.
Yeah, so you get hand line, no gloves, mind you. These guys have no gloves. No telling what test line they're using, a rope or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, you got to be tough.
I don't know how they
staying those in there.
They get paid. To put this in perspective, we're watching these guys catch these tuna because we went down there during the sardine migration. That's one reason we went down there at the particular time of the year we went down to Colombia. You want to go down there during the sardine migration. These sardines, they spool up just like you see off National Geographic.
And close to the shore.
You get right there in these bays and they spool up and they make this big like tunnel. It looks like a tornado of sardines in the water. And then you just see tuna and all these different sharks and everything else, sailfish is eating these sardines as fast as they can.
Speaking of sailfish, I've never seen anything like that. So we're out there. We went out first day. As soon as we landed, we went out and started fishing. And immediately I noticed when you're looking around, it is just untouched waters. And these sailfish, and sailfish are big, 175, 150, 200 pounds. They're huge. We got a video on here to show you. But these things are just jumping out of the water everywhere. It was amazing. Like we fished for sailfish, right? Down there in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica and Cabo.
Yeah, it was nothing like that. I mean, literally everywhere you looked, you wait long enough, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, there's a sailfish coming out of the water.
They come in like dolphin spools. Some of those were like 5, 6 at a time, just like dolphins.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. And so the sardine migration comes in there, And I don't know if it was just our time. I don't know if anything else comes in, but when we were there, it was mainly tuna and sailfish. And there was
sharks,
an
but we didn't see any
absolute
whale
abundance. I mean, an abundance of both. We probably caught 25, 30 tuna a day.
Oh, and we could have caught more if we really wanted.
Correct. We went in early the first day.
Yeah,
we
we're
felt
like,
bad for Jimbo.
Jimbo looked like he was gonna die.
He looked like he was gonna die, poor guy. You know.
And we were just tired, and we caught. I mean, you go out there and you see these freaking dill, and for me, it was just like, holy crap! You can catch as many tuna as you want. It's kind of
it's
unbelievable.
just as many as you want. You know
you
what
get over
else
the
is
sardine
cool?
Dills, and you just throw your lure, and there's like boom, tuna. You're like, I gotta take a break here.
For sure. You know what else is really cool? Is when we caught one of the tuna, we were like, he was like, yeah, I was like sashimi. We were like, hell yeah, we like sashimi. And so he cut it up right there on the boat. He brought soy and lemon, and he seasoned it up with the soy.
That was lime.
Was it lime?
Yeah,
I thought it was lemon.
lemon, or he bought lime, which cooked it. The juice, the acidic juice, cooks the fish in the sun. He's making this sushi.
And I'm catching.
I have a video of him in the background with the tuna on.
Yeah, and like I was wanting somebody to hand me one of the things, so I'm reeling it in. So we had a similar video in Costa Rica where we fed Thomas a beer while he was reeling a sailfish in.
Man, you just
That
catch
was
so many
pretty
fish
cool.
down there; it's unbelievable. But go back to these guys and these natives, and they're natives. So you had a Medellin. I would say the people have the skin color of like kind of more like Mexican, Spanish, like light, skin.
Lighter. I would say a lighter.
You go
skin,
into this country, they're black.
for sure. They are very, very dark skinned.
Yeah, like we stand out even more. It's like going to Africa and Colombia, and they're black, and they're black, right? But they're Colombians. So we go out there, and these boats everywhere, because it's sardine migration, right? These people have been here for generations, and they know what sardine
That's what
migration.
they do. That's what they do for a living.
So these people, these have 14, 15-foot boats in the middle of the ocean, right? Big waves. These guys have little 5-horsepower engines, right? And there's like 3 to 4 people on the boat because they rent the boats from the cartel.
Now they can't own them.
They can't own them. The people there, the cartel won't let them own the boats. Is basically what they told us without telling us. They're
It's
like,
like paying
"Yeah,
a
you don't-"
tax. It's basically paying a tax. And what they told us was that they make 50 cents a pound for the tuna that they bring in and sell.
Yep. So they go to
imagine what you're paying at the grocery
Yeah, oh,
store,
freak, I don't even know what
right?
tuna is.
They're making 50. They're paying 50 cents a pound to buy it.
It's like
Some
$50
supplier,
a fillet at the fish.
some supplier is paying at the very front line there, right? 50 cents. So kind of cool information.
50 cents a pound. And I said, how many pounds does these average little boats make a day? And he said anywhere from 200 to 600 pounds a day.
Yeah.
So they'll go in multiple times. But they have to split that between 2 or 3 people, 4 people.
Yep.
We were out there on one boat, and there's a bunch of like young teenagers out there catching tuna for their family.
Yep.
And this little
Hard
village we
living.
were in,
Hard living, let me
hard.
tell
He
you.
said it's hard. The captain on our boat he did that for like 25 years.
Yeah, and
He
he
finally-
lives right there in the next cove over or something.
They finally found out he had a captain's license. Like, hey, come drive our boat. He's like, heck yeah.
Yep.
And then go back to the fishing deal real quick. So these fishermen, these natives, are catching the sardines, and then they chum up the sardines, and then they throw it in the water, and these tuna the water starts boiling.
Yeah.
And then we come over there with our boat, and we catch.
And we both catch.
Yeah, we're catching. We hand them a few tuna, say, hey, thank you for chumming up the water. But we have these fancy rod and reels, with belts on and everything else. And we're bitching because our back's hurting because we caught so many tuna, and we're freaking sunburnt. And these guys are out in the middle of nowhere on a 14 deal getting rocked by waves. And they were out there hand fishing. You can just see their hands look like leather from that line.
And they were out there before we got out there, and they were there when we were coming in.
Exactly. All day.
All day.
Because they know it's tuna season. This is their chance
to make as much money
to
as they
make
can.
as much money as they can possible. And you see them there at night.
Oh, yeah.
But they have to get off the water at 5 because of drug smugglers and what else was it?
Yeah, I think the Coast Guard kind of runs that area because it is really known for drugs there. And they sell it. And they told me it was like $1,000 a kilo is what you could buy it from out of Bahia Solano, which is insanity.
Yeah, and so it's kind of an unspoken rule in those towns that the towns are regulated by the cartel because nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
Like, they don't talk about it. It's not mentioned, especially to us. But we had a really cool fishing guide that spoke very good English. He was educated, and that's one way you distinguish over there too. If a guy is educated or not, or a woman,
Speaks both
the
languages.
educated side of the Colombian people, they put a heavy emphasis of teaching their children English.
Yeah.
So when you meet somebody that is speaking English over there, which is very few, you know that their parents either had money or put a heavy emphasis on their kids' education because they went to some type of private school.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the I'll call it a cabin, I guess is what you call it.
Let's go back to the cartel. We got to talk about the cartel over there.
All right.
So nobody wants to talk about it. So this whole time, coming from America, right, you're thinking drugs. You're thinking of all the things that,
Disorganization.
It's nothing like that.
Killing every day.
Right? It's nothing like that. There's military people. You don't see anybody getting robbed. It's clean. It's nice. Bahia Solana was a little bit dirty because it's very, 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 very poor. Like things I wouldn't even let my dog sleep in. These people are living in. No electric, no windows, no carpet, no nothing. No plumbing, no showers, no nothing. They take a shower in the ocean. They're taking a shower in the creek out back. But so there's a military base there. Well, the guy finally opens up on the second night after we check in, and we'll go to the house in a second. He's like, "Look, dude, there's the government that has the police, that has the military, and then there's the people that don't dress in military clothes.
That you really got to watch out for.
Those are the people that run things over here."
Yeah.
He's like, I was like, "So what happens if there's crime over here?" Because I was like, "There has to be crime." He's like, "Well, he gives a scenario. He's like, one time there was 2 kids in high school that got in a fight. And the police showed up, and the next thing you know, 2 guys walk into the schoolyard, and the whole schoolyard disperses. And this place is pretty rough, okay? For these people to disperse, they knew who they were. Small town. They disperse, and they don't know what was said, but everybody disperses. They knew who they were, and the kids go back to never had another problem with them. I said, well, what happens if there's a second problem in the city? He goes, they literally grab your arm, your leg, whatever they need at that point in time, and they whack it off. Like they hatchet it off right there.
Yep.
No painkillers or nothing.
What happens on the third time?
I said, what happens on the third time? There's this piece of shit they haven't got the clue yet. And he goes, you don't see him again.
Yeah, you don't see him again.
They
So you got a 3-strike rule.
Yeah, I was like, no jury, no trial. He's like, no. The cartel, they protect their restaurants because they're involved in every little aspect of every little thing over there, from taxi cabs to clubs to restaurants to.
It's like a mini government.
It's a mini government it's like a shadow government.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
So they're not going to allow you to do anything, just like the boats that we just talked about. The cartel took over all these little boats. These little Colombians, these little natives, they had to rent the boats to get on their own water from the cartel.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm sure the cartel probably got a portion of their tuna they caught too.
Very, very likely, right? So, like I said, not that I absolutely have no, I don't agree with what they do and all that jazz, but it seemed very organized to me.
It's very, very organized.
Like it was, I don't know, interesting, right? For
it's
me,
organized
for me, it was organized enough to where even like an American like me, when I came over there and understood everything, I still felt safe, right? It's like we paid our tax to them when we paid that fishing guide, right? Part of that percent went over there to pay them for sure, right?
They say, well, "Don't worry about it. We're safe. We're paid up." That's
Yep.
what the guy says.
That's what
Like,
he
paid up.
what he
Other
told
you
us.
don't pay.
We're sitting in the cabin and B.S. Lana was like, yeah, I mean, part of what you paid went over there to them, right? So that you're covered while you're here. If you didn't pay, he's like, I wouldn't want to be here. That's what he said. He's like,
we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, he's like, I would not be here if you did not pay your part, which was crazy, right?
This guy is making a living over
Thank
there.
God we paid.
Yeah, we paid.
At least we think we did.
And so this place we pull up to, it's something you see on TV. Like it's something that you feel like you're in a dream.
It was pretty nice for what I thought it was going to be. That's what I'm saying. It was pretty dang nice for what I thought I was going to come to. And man, that hammock outside. One night I slept outside in the hammock. It was in the rain was falling down. The
massive waves.
The ocean was coming in. Like you could hear the ocean, you could hear the rain. I slept in a hammock, and the wind was probably like 68, 70 degrees. Wind blowing in. It was like the most picture perfect.
It's like a treehouse.
Yes.
And they had to build this saying, so imagine this, you're in a bay in the middle of the jungle, no roads going to this house any way, shape, or form, right? You're in the middle of nowhere, okay? No help. And they had to get every single nail, lumber, everything they had there, they had to get there by these
By
little
ship.
tiny little boats.
Yep.
Right? You had to take those little boats we were talking about. They had one there, and that's how we got from the big boat to the shoreline. And they had bedrooms and sheets and kitchen, and
Did your laundry?
they did your laundry every day.
They were running on a generator.
They did our laundry in a 5-gallon bucket, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It smelled great.
I watched them do it.
Did you really?
Yeah, they had a 5-gallon bucket just like the old days, and they were, and I was like, "Is that?" And then they hang it up, and then they had a dryer, but they didn't run the dryer the whole entire time. They only ran the
I
dryer.
don't want to run all the electricity on the dryer.
Exactly, because
It's
everything's
pulling.
over there is ran by a generator. So
Yeah.
pull up to this deal, and it's just like it forces you to relax.
Yeah.
Shout out to Elon Musk, by the way, to switch
Starlink.
They had Starlink there. They
Hell
had
yeah.
internet.
It was badass.
I mean, that's what technology can do. I was like, what did you guys do before Starlink? They're like, we didn't have internet.
well, we
So
also
we actually could Wi-Fi call out.
Well, what I thought was crazy, right? Is you got to imagine, guys, we're in the middle of BFE, right? There's not a lot of people around us.
Nobody.
And one evening we went up and we did that hike. Remember the hike? That was the only time I felt a little unsafe because the guy was jacking with us and he was like, follow me. We went on this little hike deal and then we were going down into these two shanties.
Well, we
call
hiked
it.
on top of the mountain behind us, right? Because the guys that there's a view out here, right? And then we get on top of that mountain.
And there wasn't no view because they didn't cut it down.
Well, they didn't cut it down, but what was crazy, we got on top of this mountain, there's like 4 concrete pillars. And you're looking around, you're like, there's no road. There's like a goat trail going up this thing. I'm sweating balls. I got sweat coming down. My receding hairline looks like I look like I'm about to die. There's poisonous frogs on the way up. The guy's like, oh, look at that poisonous frog. I'm like, how poisonous? Like, don't touch it, you'll die. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the?
Yeah, he's like, you're not going to
I'm
make it
wearing
off the island.
flip-flops. You know, I'm thinking I'm going on like a little tiny hike. We're going up the steep mountain, and we see these 4 pillars. I'm like, how the hell? And then material. There's some material on the ground. I was like, how the hell they get up there? Like, they brought mules and or they packed it in. I'm
Yeah.
talking about
Heavy.
how the heck
Heavy.
did they get all that stuff up there?
Man, it had to have been a mule. I mean, there's no other. I
So
don't
they
think
had to
man
bring
could
a
do
mule on a boat, take the boat to the shoreline, cut down with a hatchet in the middle of a jungle, and hike the top of a mountain and say, this is it, boys.
That's
We're
it.
going to build these. And then they had to go get all the sand and cement and rebar and everything else that they were going to bring up there to make this hut out of that they didn't finish yet and take it on top of this mountain. Like 3,000 feet up in the air in the middle of a jungle that is slippery and wet and moist and hot and pretty, but shit's alive over there.
Yeah, man. I love that lush rainforest feel, right? And then having that cabin, like as nice as it was.
And then you walk
Boom.
down. So we got up there the whole time. We're like, what the heck? And then we got down. We took a different path back.
That was where I was. I told you.
Yeah,
that. At
that's
one point in
when we were
time,
like,
where
oh shit,
I
we're
felt a
coming down a
little
different path than the guy, and then the path kind of runs out, and then we see these little huts.
yeah,
Now I'm talking about huts, people. I'm talking about their walls were tarps. Their roof was tin that you and I would probably throw away in America.
and the only thing that stuck out to me was why don't we walk in there? Although I'm already kind of scared in some respects.
Well, they see us from up. We're
Well, I
on top of
know.
the cliff, and they're looking at us. I'm like, those people know we're here.
Oh, for sure they did, right? And then we come around the corner of this hut shack, and there's a kid that's laying on the ground on his side, staring at us with his phone. He's got an iPhone phone-looking thing,
Crazy.
and I
ever.
couldn't believe it, right? He's got a phone out there, but he's sitting there recording us because he probably doesn't see humans very much.
No, they don't even have a boat. They don't even have their own boat.
And then the Esteban guy that was down there, he sat there and chatted in Spanish like he's quite a ways down, like a staircase. And him and the owner of the house was sitting there chatting for a little while. We're just up there, me, Jimbo, and Josh. We're just sitting there looking at each other like, what's going on, right? Because we can't understand.
Imagine this: you're natives. You're 20 miles from a village on the ocean. The only way you get there is a boat, right? No white people around. For sure, nothing behind you but jungle. And there's 3 freaking gringos and a Colombian that comes out of the woods.
No.
And we're sitting on top of a mountain, and they see us because I have a shirt on that's highly visible. You have a high visible. Like they see us, we see them. We're about 300 yards away, sitting overlooking this village. I don't know if they have guns. I don't know who they are. They don't speak my language. I don't speak their language. We're 100% trusting our guide, and our guide is a fishing guide. We don't know if he's been there. We just know that we're coming down on this, and these people see us and we see them. And Eric and I asked, "Are we safe?" He's like, "Well, this is when you kind of say your prayers real quick."
Yeah, that's what he said.
We're like, "What?"
To heighten the anxiety here, right? He's like, "Yeah, just say your prayers. This is it, you know."
So
as we're going down this hill,
as much as we are afraid, and there's a cool story we're about to tell you, so stay tuned. Do not leave. This is about to get really even better because the whole story comes into
full
circle, the big picture of why this is all like after the fact. We're like, oh my gosh. So we come down this mountain, and these people are probably just like we're thinking, but they're like, where the frick did these people come from? Where did these white people come from in the middle of nowhere on this freaking
They were probably as shocked as they were, right? They're like,
so to Eric's point, and he's being nice and humble, but I'm going to tell you how bad the circumstances are. We pull up, it's like timber, you would cut the limbs off of a dill, and you nail up on the side of a dill, and you got a wall, right? And there's this boy, and I say boy, he's 15, 16, 17 years old. He has a cell phone, okay? When you and I are lounging around our house, we're sitting on the couch, we're sitting on our outdoor furniture, we're sitting on something comfortable. This guy is sitting on the front porch of his deck that I would say is round logs on a mossy, because everything's wet over there, mossy boards, muddy, dirty, with the look like an iPhone.
I know, dude.
You're like, what the heck?
And he was recording
He's
us,
recording
watching
us. Like, what is going on here? I mean, we go down there and that guide starts talking Spanish.
Yeah, we're all sitting like, what is
going
on?
People from the house next door kind of looking like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
You don't know what they're doing behind the tarp. I look over there. I'm like, Jimbo, take some pictures. And Jimbo's like FBI in it, like taking pictures under his armpit and stuff.
I get a little uncomfortable sometimes taking pictures of people.
You don't take pictures there.
Yeah, I mean,
I think if we took a picture there, they would probably ask us to leave and or say, hey, let me see that cell phone.
Like I said, I wouldn't have chanced it. Did you get that uncomfortable feeling whenever in some locations you're like, man, I want to take a picture, but probably not.
They tell you not to put out your cell phones over there because cell phones, the thing about it, these people are making a good salary over there in Colombia. A lot of places, like the Village, they make $16 a day for doing hard labor.
Yep.
So when I mean by hard labor, we have weed eaters over there. They got hatchets and they're like, go chop down that jungle all day long, sit on the side of the mountain, and you don't eat or drink. These people going on these boats, these people are doing hard labor with no food, no water all day long, make $16 a day, and they're happy as a lark.
Yeah.
We had people
put that in perspective, right?
The guy in that village,
we bitch about everything.
I was like, how do these guys live? They make no money, right? He's like, that guy works on a plantain farm. I said, where? We're on the side of a mountain. I said, where's a plantain farm? He's like, there's one over that mountain over there. And I was like, he was like, you remember pulling in? I was like, yeah. He's like, you remember that mountain? I was like, on the left? I was like, yeah. He's like, there's a plantain farm on the other side. I was like, how the hell does he get over there? He's like, he leaves at 4 a.m. to beat the tide and runs. Yeah. The only way he can make it to the plantation is he runs while the tide is down. It's like 4.5, 5 miles one way in the sand at 4 a.m.
Yep.
That's what he said.
Yep.
I said, when does he come back? He's like, he works as many hours as he can and makes as much money, and he runs back when the tide goes back down at like 6 or 7 at night. Every day.
Real life.
So I woke up one morning. I don't have my phone on me, or I didn't have my phone. I saw the guy running. I woke up at 4 in the morning to go to the bathroom. I saw him running.
So if you're listening and you think your day's bad or you think you got it rough, listen to that.
He wakes up at 4 a.m., runs in the sand with no shoes on.
We're going to get our Starbucks. We're going to get our Starbucks. And
yeah, we're mad because the line's too long and they messed up on our flop.
I pull around because there's 3 cars at the Starbucks. I'm like, no, I'm not going to wait that long.
Yeah. And then they run back, and it's not like they're running back to hot water shower and they're running back to a nice comfy couch and direct TV. They're running back to what they call as a palace, because over there, it's a big deal to have your own house.
Yeah.
There's multiple families that live in. Perspective, their houses over there are probably 200 to 300 square feet. A nice apartment over there in Medellin. Remember when I asked him, I was like, how big is the average apartment size over there? He's like, a good size apartment over here with a full family, like 2 or 3 kids, 600 to 900 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just different, man. It's a different
600
way.
to 900 square feet.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. So to kind of wrap this thing up, Josh.
No, we got more we got to tell you real quick. You just settle down here. We're going to tell you the whole story about Colombia. So we're fishing. We see this shit. We see more fish than we've ever seen in our life. The water, there's sea snakes everywhere.
Yeah, that's neat. We did
Frogs,
see a bunch.
deadly, beautiful, bright green frogs. Knowing that sea snakes are super dangerous, right? We have our gear on the boat, ready to jump in a whale shark. The guy's like, I was like, you going to jump in with us? He's like, I ain't jumping in there. He goes, you know those whale sharks and those tuna and those sailfish that come here to eat these sardines? He goes, so does everything else. He goes, regular sharks,
tiger sharks, white tip
hammerheads, by
sharks,
the thousands. And he's like, I ain't jumping in there with you. He goes, but I have the gear for you.
Yeah, I've done it.
That's what he said.
We jumped in one time on the way
we
back.
swam to shore.
Yeah, it was a little ways.
So one night we're sitting there, and these two little Colombian ladies cook the best food every night.
Oh man,
fresh
amazing.
Sushi, fresh everything, all homemade right there. Fresh tuna that we caught that day, right there, cut and clean and put on your plate within minutes.
It was awesome.
Amazing. So we get there, and one night he opens up to us. Remember him? The fishing guy that spoke English?
Esteban.
So he can speak English to us because nobody around speaks any English.
Yeah.
So they don't know what he's saying. That's the only reason why he told us he was saying it in English.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, they don't know what we're saying. I'm going to tell you the real truth. He goes, because every night across the cove, the bay, we saw these lights every night. And it was a very important deal that we got off the water every day at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we need to be off the water by 5 o'clock. The first day there.
Yep.
And he didn't really tell us why. He told us some bullshit answer, but we're like, that's weird. Because you still see fishermen out there, and he's like, no, we got to get off the water at 5 o'clock. So I don't know if that's a rule, but assuming it was. He goes,
probably unwritten.
You see that where that land is over there? I was like, yeah, this is at dinner. He's like, that's the number one place, one of the top places that they smuggle humans.
Yep.
Into
Panama.
And this is where it starts, from Venezuela and all the South American countries and Asia, and people from Middle East. They come into this place, this bay, and the trek starts there. And I was like,
he's
what
like,
do they pay?
yeah.
He's like $2,500 a person. People save for their whole life in these countries to get to America.
Yep.
Kind of gives you a different perspective of what people that you see on TV, CNN, Fox News. You see those people running up.
What they've been through, what they went through.
This jungle, I always told Eric, I was like, this boat broke down, and we had no radio, and I had nothing. I was like, I think we're going to probably die because you cannot walk through this rainforest. It's that thick, folks. It's that steep. It's that thick. It's that
people
gnarly.
are walking for 4 days.
No, 7 days. The guy said, it's 7-day hike. I said, well, how long does it take him to get from here to Panama? He goes, it's 7 days. They pack their food, and they do not stop walking for 7 days. He goes, they might take an hour break here and there. They do not sleep. They do not stop walking.
They got to cross rivers.
And he was telling us the story.
Mountains.
He's like, see that guy right there? And every day they had a guy that spent the night on our boat, so nobody stole it, and it didn't come unhooked because there's not big enough boats to go chase this thing down if it goes out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
So they have a guy. We got off the boat. The guy that sleeps on the boat. No air conditioner, no lighting, no TV. He sleeps on that boat from the time we get off to the time we get on there in the morning, and that's what his job is to do, is protect that boat.
Yep.
That guy that we're talking about was a big black guy, super nice. He spent 10 years in prison in Panama for smuggling drugs and humans.
Yeah.
They call him a nurse.
Yeah.
He's a nurse at the militia in town, right?
Yep.
So he was telling us stories that this guy told him, and he's like, yeah, there's some major rivers when the rain starts really raining in the rainforest, these rivers rise, and he goes, those cartels just swim across it. I was like, these people have kids, right? And he was like, they have kids, they have their families with them. And he goes, this guy was telling me that one time they were crossing this river, and they had two little, small kids, probably 4, 5, 6, I think that's what he told us. And he was like, one came off the dad's back and one came off the mom's back crossing the river. I was like, they swim after him? He's like, nope. Because they had 2 other kids that made it on shore. And he goes, there's no stopping.
Yeah, they're going to make it.
He goes, like, 6 out of every 10 people make it. The rest of them die on the path to go to Panama.
Yeah.
And he goes, they don't have the right resources. They don't have food. It's 7 days
I could not imagine it.
of just hiking in the most miserable, treacherous, gnarly environment you can think of. Imagine not having the right shoes. Imagine not having any food. Imagine having your 3-year-old that you're carrying up these steep ass mountains and cliffs, and you just have to be tough, son of a bitch.
You got to be tough, man.
These people out here are tough.
Yeah.
I come back. I'm sitting in my house with my pool, my air conditioning car, By the way, nobody over there drives full-size cars. These things are like the size of those Fiat cars that you're like, fuck that. You ever get to the wreck of those, going to die?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And they're gnarly looking. We got some pictures of them. But, man, one of my favorite parts of this whole trip was the very end. We were getting ready to leave Bahia Solano. And we basically, our flight got delayed. Our flight got delayed from
our flight did not get delayed.
Hold on. It did not delayed, but it got our space got taken up by tuna.
There you go.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, we got delayed, but the plane actually left, and it left without us because they needed more room for tuna because they are importing the tuna on moon flights back into Medellin.
Yeah,
so they booted us
more
off.
than us.
So we had a couple hours to spare, right? And this guy was like, "You want to see a waterfall?" And we're like, "Hell yeah!" So we like literally just walk from the place that we were getting ready to board the plane and go around the corner, and we could go down this trail.
Well, we had to switch clothes. We had to put our clothes in the back of this like cafe of something like you see on TV, like a mud hut that sells food. Somehow, these
not sure if your stuff's going to be there when you get back.
Yeah, he's like, you want to go on the walk? Well, we're protecting our luggage, right? We realize that there's like a 3-hour delay. It's rainy. We're in the middle of nowhere. We don't know. Our guys are already left because they thought we were getting on the plane.
Yeah.
Right. So we're like, can we keep our luggage here? To your point, we don't know if we're gonna get back. We switch into our bathing suits. We start hiking up this mountain with this guy that doesn't speak English.
Yeah, we got some cool videos of this too that we'll play on here.
I'm talking about you'd be like going to like airport, and then right next door there's this like a mile away. You hike up in the rainforest, and there's this waterfall.
Yeah, I mean it was amazing, and we saw some really cool stuff. And then it was kind of sketchy at one point where we were having to scale those rocks to get up to the actual waterfall. There was like a little small one, and then like a little canyon piece that we had to scale up where everything was just moist and
like
slippery.
Snakes, you're like deadly frogs. The guy was like taking pictures on the way there, wearing like flip flops. He's like, "See that frog? I don't see nothing." He's like, "There's a frog right there." I was like, "Holy crap, there's a frog." He's like,
"Don't touch that.
Don't touch that. You won't live." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, like it's craziness. And we scale up this thing and get on this waterfall, and we got to swimming, and it was badass. And then this genius over here is like, "Yeah, but put your phone in your pocket." Right? Mine's waterproof. I do it all the time in my pool, this, that, and the other. Well, I guess I have the 14 Pro Max, and you have the 15 Pro.
It's the 15 Pro Max. It's waterproof.
I got apparently because my phone's got moisture still in the camera, and I can't even use my camera for anything now at this point. So
hey, I just noticed my glass is cracked.
I'm waiting on AT&T. My phone comes in about 2 days or something. So, and then the side button doesn't work either. So thank you for having me jump into the waterfall.
I got some great footage. I took my phone in the waterfall. We swam with it. You swam with this too, but I got some great footage.
It was badass.
We'll show you that, a little clip of that. Put that on there, Alex.
Yeah, it was badass.
And then we walked back to the airport, sit around there for a little longer, and finally get on the airplane, get back to Medellin.
Yep, and just spent the day there, just
spent a
chilling.
whole entire day there because we didn't fly out that night till
like
11
midnight, pretty much.
I was like, we're not making it back because again, it's raining. You can't zero visibility. Major international airport coming to Medellin. These people, they just deal with it. They just take off.
Yeah,
and we had a really cool restaurant on the sitting there on the waiting on the way back. That rooftop restaurant.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
And then we went to like another really cool area, like a lot of like non-tourists kind of go. I think the guys realize that.
I tried to get a tattoo that day.
Yeah, Eric has his tattoos head on him. When did you get that tattoo?
17.
It's a duck that looks like it doesn't even look like a duck. It looks like a 17-year-old kid got a tattoo from. He got the best deal possible.
I've been waterfowl hunting since I was a kid. It's a Ducks Unlimited tattoo I got on my back a very long time ago in somebody's house. So, anyways, I was going to get it covered up and do some other stuff. But, yeah, we had a great time in Medellin on the way back. We got to more just of a chill day. And, the Jay guy, he was gracious enough to let us put our luggage back in that same Airbnb because we had like a 8 or 9 hour wait time in Medellin before we flew out. So we got to experience a little bit more of that life. And we went to, what was the place we had? Parque Lieras? Was that the place that we went and ate? Mm-hmm. So we stayed, if you guys are wondering, we stayed in the Poblado district. And that is a really nice area. That was where
all the tourists are. Yeah,
that's where you want to stay, is in the Poblado district. So we had a great time. I loved Medellin. Hope this information kind of helps you guys.
Well, let me kind of give you a rundown real quick of what I would do if I had to go back or if it was my first time thinking about going to Colombia.
Okay.
One, go in the mindset and allow enough time when you're booking your reservations for things not to go perfectly. Because
I would agree.
Not everything over there is ran like America. They kind of nonchalant, laid back, right? Oh, the plane got delayed because your spot got taken by tuna, and you just kind of roll with that.
Yeah.
So don't have everything so regimented. Don't have your mindset where you're not flexible. Be flexible. Number 2, be prepared for people not to speak English. Very, very, very few people speak English. I'm talking about restaurants and taxis and any little small thing you need to speak English, communicate, to do to get around in a different culture. These people are not speaking English. And using your translator on your phone, yes, you can get by, and we did get by, but it's kind of inconvenient and it delays everything. And people get frustrated. You can tell they're frustrated, and you don't know if you're getting a good deal on anything. You know you're overpaying, but what are you going to do? Argue with the guy who's going to chop your head off, right? When you don't know the area and you don't know who he's working for and you don't know nothing, really. So you just pay it. So convert your currency, maybe not the airport, but convert it as fast as you can and convert it to pesos from the USD.
Yep.
I would say number 3, people over there don't wear shorts. And if you don't want to stick out, don't wear shorts.
Don't wear shorts.
I mean, you can wear gym shorts at night around the house and stuff. But if you're going out, people wear jeans. People wear, sweatpants. They don't wear. People in Colombia take a lot of pride of what they look like. Right? They dress very nice. It don't matter if they're poor or rich. They dress well. They're clean. They're well put together people. They don't wear shorts. And if you're walking around in Colombia with shorts on, they can definitely tell you that you're not from there, and it's just more of a target on your back.
I'd agree.
Number 4. Be prepared to spend money. It really took me for a shock of how expensive things were, right? Just because we like to eat at safe places. We don't want to go into the real bad areas to eat, right? And not have things go wrong with us that shouldn't go. We try to stay in the places where kind of not super touristy, but are somewhat touristy. And guess what? Everything is starting to pick up on tourism, and they see you coming from a mile away. And it might be true where they give you 2 menus and they charge a different price for gringos, right? So be prepared to spend a little bit more money than anticipated, right? It was not super cheap all the time. Agree?
Yeah, I agree.
And then lastly, I would say overall, be prepared to be shocked by just the sheer power of the culture over there. I would say it's 10 times more than Mexico and some other places I've been.
Power.
The power of the culture.
Power of the culture.
I mean, there's 2 different worlds over there. There's the people that I call them ghosts, the people that work for the cartels, and the people that don't talk about it. They're not working for the cartels, but they know what lines to cross and not cross.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared for that. You go over there. Eric did a very, very good job and hired the translator and got us hooked up with a guy named Jay that knew the ins and outs of all this and warned us and kind of just teed it up for us where we didn't have those issues. But I could see if you went over there and didn't have somebody like Jay that was not plugged in, that didn't have your best interest in heart, I could see where we might not have the same experience.
I would agree with that.
It could not.
Yeah.
The whole experience could have been turned upside down. One of us could have got robbed. We could have went down the wrong street. We could have ate at the wrong restaurant. We could have got food poisoning or got robbed or been kidnapped. You know what I mean? And held for ransom. So be prepared over there. So overall, I give Medellin and the Colombia overall. I'll give Bogota a 5.
Ooh, it's rough. Okay.
Right? And I give Medellin an 8, right?
Okay.
And I give the fishing overall, not quantity as far quantity, but not the size of fish. I would say quantity and the sheer beautiness of it and just ruggedness. I give that a 9 or 10.
Damn. Okay.
Out of all the places we've been.
So all the information that Josh was talking about those are great, 4 or 5 great points, right? That people need to really listen to. But I'll judge what I think. So on the Bogota side, I would lean more towards you and say probably a 5. I would say Medellin for me was more like probably a 9. I liked it. I liked the vibe of it. I liked the people.
Really neat vibe.
Yeah, it was just cool. It was more my style, right? We're a little bit different. But
it's more of a hippie style.
The Bahia Solano and the fishing, I would say for me it was more of an 8. I think that the fish was there, the beauty was there. I just wish there was more options to fish for, right? I just wish there was more options to fish for. Then that's why I give it an 8. But all in all, Hope this information helps you guys. Leave some reviews, leave some comments, like the page, subscribe,
Oh, give us
and
some more options of where we need to go because we
No,
like
no.
going to crazy places.
No, the last thing. That's a great one. Like we want to go to some other crazy
give us some
places.
options and tell us your story.
But the other thing that you need to understand is that I'd like some feedback on the mustache. Like I'm kind of thinking
Pablo
about,
Escobar mustaches.
it's starting to wear on me a little bit, kind of growing on me. I like it. I don't know. Let me know what you think.
I like it, and my wife hates it, so I'm going to keep it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm sure my wife is
My
not
wife
gonna.
thinks I look like a creeper, and I would tend to agree with her, so I'm going to keep it.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Hold on. Whoa.
Jesus,
dude,
he just
calm
keeps
down.
going, doesn't he?
I'm on one
He's
today.
the Energizer Bunny.
Stay tuned because we have who's coming up?
Dropout Millionaire.
Okay, Dropout Millionaires coming up June 5th, right in Atlanta. We're flying out there to meet with him. We're super excited about that, so stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have 1 or 2 episodes between there, but watch his stuff. Tune in, watch some of his stuff because we're going to be on the show and we're going to be talking about all kinds of things that he likes to do and his whole story.
Hell yeah.
So, subscribe.